Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We are registered dietitians that are passionate about food as medicine.
In this video, we are going to be making the coconut macaroon recipe from the Anti-Anxiety Diet Cookbook.
Yes, this book includes over 80 gut-friendly, low-glycemic, keto-supportive food as medicine recipes that all serve to balance and optimize your mood. These coconut macaroons are a really great indulgence that you can share at a party. They come out beautiful with this chocolate drizzle, but they have gut-supportive ingredients, including gelatin, which can actually aid in supporting gut lining, preventing leaky gut, as well as the coconut itself. 2+ cups of shredded coconut include compounds such as MCTs, which can aid in ketone production, those medium chain triglycerides, as well as caprylic acid and monolaurin. These are compounds that have actually been shown to be able to battle dysbiosis or imbalanced gut bacteria, fight candida, and to have antiviral effects.
So this indulgence would actually even be appropriate for those doing our Beat the Bloat gut cleanse. And that fiber from the coconut is going to be supportive of detoxification via the bowels.
Be mindful that your daily bowel movement is one way to really ensure that you're able to conjugate or gather excessive hormone, so important for estrogen dominance, as well as detoxification of actual toxins or additives, environmental toxins, and can aid in lipid lowering effects. In fact, we see the coconut fiber specifically able to increase that heart healthy HDL and reduce that LDL value. So lots of benefits, and y'all are gonna love this recipe. Let's get started.
So we'll start off in this big bowl mixing our dry ingredients. I've got that 2 cups of shredded coconut. I'm adding to that a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and baking soda. Get in there, little guy. And then I'm adding some gelatin and just whisking all that together. Now I'm going to keep my large coconut shreds out until a little bit later in the process. And then I'm going to incorporate my wet ingredients. I've got my almond extract here, coconut oil, and I think I'm going to add that into the honey for the easiest transfer there. Got a little bit of raw, local, unfiltered honey as the sweetener, and it's a really small amount for how much fat is in this recipe.
Yes, just 1 tablespoon of raw honey, which adds B vitamins, as well as compounds such as chrysin, which can aid further in reducing estrogen dominance, and pretty low glycemic. And that 1 tablespoon is distributed into 20+ macaroons. So really not going to impact the blood sugar. As Becky's incorporating the wet, we're gonna then add that into our dry ingredients. So I'll start stirring here. So it's not a lot of moisture that you're incorporating. The majority of the moisture is actually going to come from the egg white foam that we'll be making in a moment. But I just want to show you, it'll have a little bit of a coarse texture, and those wet ingredients are just aiding to kind of gather fine clumps in your bowl. You might want to use your fingers to kind of go through and make sure everything gets incorporated. So this is looking pretty good as a base. So now I'm going to separate out the egg whites. So I like to just use my hand and allow that yolk to sit gently along my fingers and allow that white to separate. So I'm gonna keep my yolks to the side here. I recommend saving your egg yolks for the next morning's breakfast scramble. No problem to add that into whole eggs. You're gonna get all of those omega-3s. You definitely don't wanna waste the nutrients of your yolk. But for this recipe, we're using the egg whites to provide, like I said, moisture, and also when we peak them, it's gonna provide a nice airy texture. All right, so you'll know that you're ready when your egg whites have created a nice, thick, stiff peak like this. They should almost solidify. This will now get folded into our ingredients. All right, so I'm gonna just kind of tap that out of there. All right, and I'll start start to incorporate what we have, and then we'll add the remaining parts. So not a full stir, just kind of folding these in to the base ingredients. Okay, so just folding in that second half of those peaked egg whites. You want to make sure you don't overmix because you do want some of that airy volume that the egg white foam provides. So just folding in the remainder. And once we get that incorporated, we'll stir in our larger flakes of shredded, well, not shredded, flakes of coconut as opposed to the shredded.
It's gonna add some just interesting texture. There we go.
All right. I think we're just about ready for scooping. So you'll want to line your cookie sheet with parchment paper. This makes for an easy cleanup. And we're going to use this tablespoon scooper. I'll link it below in my Amazon store. Also in my Amazon store, we will link these stainless steel baking sheets. It's always an ask when I'm cooking at home. We're really big proponents of making sure that you use non-toxic cooking materials. You can learn more about that in this video where we talk to you about how to season your cast iron pan and the dangers of some of the forever chemicals seen in the lining of other nonstick brands.
So I'm just packing this a little bit with my fingers so we get a pretty little mound and it sticks together.
All right, so we've scooped all of our coconut macaroons. We have the oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to bake these for just about 10 to 12 minutes to get a little bit of a nice toasted coconut flavor that pairs really well with the almond extract, and then we'll be drizzling them with some dark chocolate. Bring your pan of water to a simmer. And then in a glass bowl or metal bowl, something that is not going to melt, we're going to add in our chocolate and create what's called a double boil. So I'm gonna let this sit and then just slowly stir it as it melts. Okay, so we've melted those dark chocolate chips and you can see a nice sheen and we're getting a creamy viscosity here. All right, so we've removed the macaroons from the oven at the 12-minute mark. You can see they're nice and just slightly toasted, which is perfect. We have pulled that double boiled chocolate and we're just gonna take metal spoons, you could use a spatula, whatever you fancy, and we're just gonna drizzle that dark chocolate on each macaroon.
I'm gonna set these in the freezer just enough to let that chocolate set fully, probably 10-15 minutes, and then we'll pop them out and give them a try.
So we just allowed that chocolate to set in the freezer, making a nice hard shell there. Let's give them a taste. Cheers. The egg white provides such a nice airy texture.
And chocolate is just enough, and they do hold together pretty well here.
We hope you love this recipe as much as we do. To explore all of my low glycemic, gut-friendly, mood-boosting recipes from the Anti-Anxiety Diet Cookbook, use the code below to save 20% off. And be sure to like this video and comment below if you've tried it, and subscribe to the YouTube Naturally Nourished channel to stay on top of all of our bi-weekly offerings.
Why am I holding this whisk?
Because you like props.
I do. I like to do something with my hands.
We get focus.